Hello everyone, how y'all doing? Welcome to another video. This is the Demoscene report for the month of February in 2022. I'm going to go through all the Demoscene related news that I could gather throughout the month, so you can just watch this video and not have to follow all the different social networks and channels and portals and stuff to hunt down latest Demoscene stuff. Let's get right into it because I have quite a few items to show you. The first one that I wanted to highlight was this interview with the Sarge that happened on Fairlight's channel. Fairlight has been doing a series of videos which I somehow have missed until this month, and they've been showing how to do stuff for the Commodore 64 and interviewing some of their members, and this one in particular was very interesting. If you're interested in pixel graphics, if you're interested in the Sarge himself, because a very famous Commodore 64 graphician, or in Fairlight, you should definitely check this out. 1 hour long, but it's really worth checking out. Moving on with other highlights of the month, there was this thing released from Totetmat called Bonzo Tool Scripts. It's a series of scripts made for to replicate Bonzomatic, to record and replay Bonzomatic stuff. So this is useful for shader coders out there who like enjoy participating on shader showdowns, shader royales, shader jams, those kind of things. You can like pre-record your thing. It's sort of a cheat if you're doing online stuff, but it's also very interesting if you want to practice your stuff, if you want to see your build-up process, like reconstruct your build-up process. So there's a lot of very interesting things that you can do with it. It includes both the recorder and the replayer. So yeah, very interesting project, and it's nice that it's open source so people can, you know, just take a look and use it for whatever they want. So if you're a shader coder out there, you should definitely check out BTS. K-pop influences might or might not be put into practice. Moving on to other stuff, what we had, the revision finally got announced. It was taking its sweet time to get announced. They were still figuring it out if it was gonna be physical or not physical. They had a survey a few months ago and they were analyzing all the results and how the situation was evolving in Germany. Bottom line, it's gonna be online again, but with this satellites feature, which is like what we used to call shadow parties. Physical gatherings, different places around the world, streaming the main event, which is Revision itself. So there are a few confirmed satellite parties already happening, a couple of them in Germany. We're organizing one in Portugal as well, me and Genio. Then there's one in France, I believe, already scheduled. A couple in Sweden are also probable, and there are still talks ongoing to have something in Finland and other countries that might be interested in joining. It's an open call, so if you have a space and you can get seniors there, you're welcome to join. Just ping the organizers of Revision. You'll be added to the Discord of the satellites organization thing, where you can keep in touch with the rest of the crew. As for Revision itself, it's gonna happen same dates as always: Easter, holidays, 15 and 18 of April, this year in particular. And it's going to be awesome. There's already a list of competitions, I think. And yeah, more information will come soon. But it's going to be free. You don't have to pay anything to submit stuff. And yeah, more information coming soon. But it is going to happen. So prepare your awesome releases for Revision. It's going to be fun. And try to attend a satellite event if there is one near you. Other parties that also were recently announced: Gerp is going to be held on 1st and 3rd of April, got rescheduled a couple of times. Underground Conference also was recently announced, and of course I have to go to another screen to find it. It's going to happen in 3 to 10 of July. It's here, Underground Conference. And another party that also been announced recently is 5 to 7 of August. It's going to be the Evoke. Also, International Demo Party already been announced for the 6th of November. I might as well plug it as well. These are the main parties that have been recently announced, but as you can see here on demoparty.net, you can find the full listing of all the stuff. Some of them just been vaguely announced, not officially announced, and might change dates, but overall this is a very reliable list and keeps up to date, relatively well updated. So yeah. Anyways, moving on to releases of this year, there were a few out of compo releases. Becoming for the Commodore 64 was an interesting one. A small demo, a very conceptual one about COVID vaccine stuff, but made with a very good design and storyline. So I think it's really worth checking out if you like Commodore 64 stuff. Then we had Cheese Listening, which is a music disc for the Amiga, with a lot of work from Virgil. And yeah, it's full of amazing tracks. Highly recommended. Got extremely upvoted. It's one of the most voted releases of the month. So if you like music discs, or if you like Amiga, or if you like Virgil, you should definitely check it out. Graphics by Critical. Other stuff that happened, Lovebyte, of course, took place online, the mecca for Sizecoding stuff. I helped organize with some of the aspects of it. We had another record-breaking number of entries again this year, which was really cool to see. We already had the most releases ever released at a party last year, and this year was even more. So yeah, a lot of things to see, a lot of small graphics, small changes happened, a lot of different compos, a lot of things to see. I'm just gonna highlight a few that were my personal favorite. Oh, first of all, I wanted to mention the Nano Award winners, which were revealed at Lovebyte. The one that won for the old school competition was Quarter Express by Ilmenit, and the one that won for the best high-end intro was Lightcrypt by Gopher, but very tight in terms of voting, so that was very interesting to see. Other stuff that happened at Lovebyte of interest, the seminars, there were only 2 of them. Both of them were really, really good. The first one by Exoticorn is showing his fantasy console sort of thing, development environment. MicroW8 it's for WebAssembly. And it's very interesting. I was checking it just for the sake of it, and I found it really refreshing and interesting. Not sure if I'm ever going to do something in it, because I'm not feeling like learning Rust and the whole WebAssembly optimization trickery, but it felt really interesting. And Exoticorn released a lot of stuff for the MicroW8 throughout Lovebyte itself, so you could really see the potential that the platform has. Excuse me. Moving on to the other seminar that was also presented at Lovebyte. It was released by, or was organized by Super Rogue. It was for the Pico 8, some size coding tips for the Pico 8. I haven't had time to see it yet, but it should be very good. If it's any good as the TIC 80 seminar that Super Rogue did last year, it's definitely worth checking out. And Pico 8 is just in the beginnings of being a size coding platform. The first 256 byte intro was released just last year, so a lot of stuff can be done with the Pico 8, and this is definitely worth checking out. Other stuff worth mentioning was that Pestis won the Bytebattle competition. I don't have a link for that, so I'm just going to show you Alien Core 64 Byte by Hellmood, which was another of the releases that I wanted to highlight. Yeah, this one 64 byte was really good. It got first place and closely followed by Zima of Rjola, which was also quite very good entry for the compo. The compo itself, the 64-byte intro compo, was really packed full of releases. There were really a lot of compos, so I can show all of the releases that I wish I could, but I have a few more highlighted that I wanted to showcase. Necropolis won the executable Tiny Graphics 256-byte executable graphics competition. Very moody stuff, very since install. Another entry from the executable graphics that I really enjoyed was Kyrgyz, which is the flag for Kyrgyzstan, and for 256 byte I thought this looked extremely realistic, so that's why I really liked it. Other releases also worth mentioning: Pulsating Magic Orb by Pestis won the 512 byte intro compo for the TIC-80 on the Fantasy Console division. Actually, it was a high-end category, so included everything high-end. Then we had The Dream We Used to See by Sense Install, also very moody and capturing a specific scene, which is very good to see in 256 bytes. It's not just about the effect, it's having like some sort of narrative to it. And this one, the title and the image really worked very well, and I think that's why people really resonated with it. Another very similar entry was Murkwood by Ilmenit, which won the old school category of 256 byte. Really moody with sound and this very dark atmosphere that really fit very well. It was really beautiful to watch. So these were the main highlights for Lovebyte. We also had the Byteathlon competition, which was won by Hellmood on the high-end side and Ilmenit on the old school side of things. So yeah, that was Lovebyte. There are a lot of entries on this. Like I can scroll for a very long time. A lot of different competitions, a lot of different entries. So if you like Sizecoding, do check out every single one of them. A lot of entries for a lot of different platforms. I think you'll find a lot of hidden gems in this, especially if you like Sizecoding stuff. But let's move on to something else. Razer 1911 released a crack throw in 2022. It's called La Parade, and it was a bit of an homage to the Palm. It had some reference there to the Palm. I saw that, wink wink, which was very cute to see. Overall, it's a decent crack throw. Not sure what releases it was used on, but as a Demoscene thing itself, it was really nice to check out. It's also one of the highest voted releases of the month. Moving on, other news, there was this video of this channel called Bad Gear, which explores different kind of music instruments, and they checked out the Polyend tracker. And to explain what the Polyend tracker, it's a tracker, but in a hardware, dedicated hardware with a tracker of its own. And to explain the tracker, he explained all of the different, or some of the previous trackers, the origin of it, why people use it, and also the hardware itself. So I think it was a very comprehensive introduction into the trackers scene, and also the benefits, the pros and cons of having one, and having one in a hardware format now that is available as the Polyend tracker. So if you're into music making, this video is worth checking out. And if you like trackers and you always wanted to have a hardware version of being able to track stuff, check out Polyend tracker. It might be something that you like. Also related to musicians, Remix 64 did this Remixer of the Year award. They had several categories. Dr. Future won the 64 or Amiga competition. Lifetime achievement to Joje 70 and Necropolis, and the best newcomer was Sami Sepa. The best veteran was also attributed to Glenn R. Brown, and the best 64 remix for Gianna Sisters by Glenn R. Brown again. There's one more category. Best Amiga remix. Beat to the Pulp Metal Tribute by Dusty was the winner as well by a very large margin. They did a whole show broadcasting this, which you might probably still catch on Twitch. I think it was recorded as VOD there, so if you want to check out, I do recommend it. Slay Radio was the organizer behind that. Moving on to something else, we had a music disc by LFD, 15 Years of Scene Spirit, including most of the tracks that he's been released throughout the years, I believe. Haven't really checked it yet, but it's LFT, so it's probably gonna be amazing. Have to launch up the emulator or the Mister and try to play it there and check it out for myself, but I do recommend you checking it. Other stuff for the Commodore 64, there was this competition for the only using sprites. And you can see the results here. Sprite Bukake by Bonsai seems to have won overall, very closely followed by Sprite Spirit by Lethargy, both very active groups on the C64 scene, but all of them have very good ratings, so probably worth checking all of them out, especially if you are a Commodore 64 nerd. Talking about Commodore 64 nut stuff, there was this demo party called BCC that was delayed a couple of times and then ended up happening online only, organized by the C64 Berlin Club. And it was just a one-day stream on 26th of February. A lot of good music, a lot of good graphics. Not that many demo releases. 64 demo compo was won by The Funeral of Dream, which they had already released as Silly Venture, but was disqualified because of some reason. And now it got re-released and it won the compo. Well, it was the only one submitted to the compo. There was also a fast intro compo, which also seems to have pretty good releases. I only seen Tanka Chat and Fairyland so far. Both of them were really good. But it's a single screen, not much you can do in it, but if you like Commodore 64, it's definitely worth checking out. A lot of interesting design things in there for you to check out. And as I mentioned before, both the graphics and the music compos are both very good, as is starting to become a trend in the Commodore 64's parties. Every single Commodore 64 party that I checked, or that had like a C64 following into it, always high number and good quality of both music and graphics competitions. So something that other parties should, and other Demoscene platforms should really be envious of, in my humble opinion. Other stuff that I also checked out during February, I caught Pan of Spinning Kids doing some live stream of him trying to get back into creative coding. He was trying to do some new stuff, but also worked on a new version of A New Gene and Mini F mod, trying to get a high resolution version of his old entries and get them working again. And I think the Mini F mod is optimized for some stuff as well. So if you're looking for a modern version of a Mini F mod, this was currently redone and available for you to grab, so do check out on the Spinning Kids repository. Also released a new version is Shrinkler by Loonies. I am gonna scroll down so you can see the release notes. Amiga Shrinkler executable is now built into Amiga GCC. There's a new option to support command line parameters, a new option to disable the parity context for data compression. Output size for data crunching no longer rounded up to a multiple of 4 bytes, and a new option to write a header before the crunched data. So thank you Blueberry and all the other people involved in Shrinkler for still updating it. Really cool to see it still being maintained. More stuff. Another YouTube video back to the BBS, and also about the music tracker scene, which was really interesting. So this guy Al from Al's Geek Lab YouTube channel is doing this series of videos called Back to the BBS, and he mentioned Demoscene a few times before, and now it focused specifically on the music tracker scene, when people used to go to the BBSs to swap mods around, and he interviewed a lot of famous names. Skaven and Purple Motions is Purple Motion on screen now. Purple Motion and Skaven from Future Crew are just two of them. He also interviewed, who else did he also interview? I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Citrix, that's it. Citrix did a very good job explaining how tracker music works. So for that alone, could have been just a segment, just Citrix explaining how tracker music works. That would have been a very interesting video on its own. And also TDK was also featured, and I think Trickster also showed up on a few segments. But mostly it was these four people: Purple Motion, Skaven, Citrix, and TDK. All of them with a lot of stories from their early days of making music and tracker music in general. So really worth checking out, in my humble opinion. And he's going to do more videos about BBS stuff as well. I think next he's going to talk about Ashi and Ansi scene, the so-called graphic scene from back then in the BBS days. Next up we have so Brightlight has been doing some live streams of Game Boys and other platforms as well, and he decided to create this forum thread on Puet for people to announce their streams, which is quite good because there are quite a few number of different streams being planned, not just the regular demo parties that are live streamed, but also Aldroid has been streaming every Saturday morning. Fleece also has a regular schedule showing some Atari stuff. DJ Hoffman and Luguber are also two other Demosceners who regularly stream some stuff, and there are other people who do some things. Shader Coding, don't know if Evil is active, is regularly active lately, but he used to do a lot. Flopine, Lynn, a lot of different people do live streams, so it's nice to have a place where you can just, you know, announce what's going on and be able to find the people and subscribe to them and all that stuff. There was a Demoscene group on Twitch itself, which I'm gonna see if Felice is a part of. Apparently he is not. But there was one in particular that you could join and have your stuff listed there as part of the group. I might have to stop this, otherwise it'll make some noise. But yeah, moving on, Hala by Moppy also got a high-res version. Actually, the Demopaja player was repurposed to have a high-res version, since most of the Moppy productions play on Demopaja directly, on the player of Demopaja directly, you can get a proper high-resolution capture, or supposedly you can. Some people are having trouble with it, but supposedly it works. So if you like vintage Moppy Productions releases and you always wanted to have a proper capture, high resolution capture, good news for you. And if you're a Demopaja fan, I guess this is also some good news for you as well. More stuff released. The COVID Incident by Mayhem music disc for the BK0010. Haven't heard it yet, but it has a lot of tracks, and I do have been enjoying discovering the whole BK scene. I thought the BK was a lot less powerful than it seems to be. I thought it was like less powerful than a Spectrum, but it seems that it has a lot of things that I haven't really been seen possible on the Spectrum. So it's a very interesting platform to be checking out, and mostly Russian, obviously, since it was mostly distributed in Russia. But yeah. Anyways, if you have a BK or you like to check it on an emulator, you should probably check out this music disc by Mayhem. Other stuff that I wanted to talk about, the top productions of this last month and a half. You can see Cheesy Listening, the music disc by with music by Virgil being the number one. Second place was the invitation for the Norwegian demo party that is coming up, was released in January. The Crack Throw that I also mentioned, some releases from Lovebyte, some stuff related to Ukraine that we will talk in a while. Shiru's music compilation from January, and the production that I wanted to talk about, which I think that I did not mention before, is actually this one. Flush wishes you a happy new year 2022. I don't think I mentioned this on the previous video. If I have forgotten about it. I probably could have checked before posting this. Anyways, double props. It is one of the top 20 productions of the month and a half. So yeah, congratulations to Flush for having entertained us so well with their Happy New Year intro. Some sad news about the passing of She, a Slovakian demoscener who is known for being an organizer of the Forever demo party. Crucial part on the Atari scene of Slovakia. condolences to his family and friends and everyone related. And talking about condolences, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, the situation with Ukraine that deteriorated. There were some Russian, well, some people call it invasion, some people just say that they were doing just some exercises, some war exercises or military exercises. And the reality is that a lot of people are fleeing Ukraine because they are afraid for their security. There are tanks from Russia and troops from Russia all over the Ukraine making their way into Kiev. Ukraine has asked for international support. They are defending against the Russian invasion. And it's been a huge mess of a situation. We have Demosceners from Ukraine. We have Demosceners from Russia. A lot of them are our friends from many years ago. It's very sad to see this situation happen. We all wish it would be resolved quickly, swiftly. Very hard to do creative hobbies like the Demoscene while you're stressing about conditions of war and if you're safe, if your family is safe, if your friends are safe. So fuckings to Putin for starting this war, and I hope the situation resolves itself and things can go back to somewhat normality, both for Ukraine and Russia, because from what we've been seeing from the international response, there are going to be a lot of sanctions being applied to Russia and international pressure, which will inevitably deteriorate the quality of life of the Russian people, who are kind of helpless to change what Putin can or cannot do. So very complicated political situation. Meanwhile, a few people did actually. Both winners of Lovebyte, Byteathlon, did 2 intros very quickly after this situation escalated, and both of them can be contemporary art. Some people think that maybe it's too soon to be doing like creative coding things about such serious matters, but anyways, this is what the creative minds did, so I think it's worth checking out. Ukraine by agenda. It starts off as the flag of Ukraine, and slowly it starts getting bombed and turning into the flag of Russia, but not quite ever being exactly the flag of Russia. So it's like a political sort of statement. It doesn't. From what Ilmenit said, it doesn't. It's like it's not pro-Russian. It's just reflecting on what is happening. Might be bad taste. Some people have stated that, but I think overall it's meant as an art piece, not a controversy piece. So I think it was worth doing and following your idea. Another entry that we also had was made by Hellmood, and it's doing the flag of Ukraine with some hearts in 16 bytes. So love to Ukraine, stay strong, and hope the situation can resolve itself, as I was mentioning. So unfortunately, these are the top news of Demoscene for the end of February 2022. Let's see what the future brings, what March will bring us. Hopefully resolution to Ukraine situation, and other entries and other parties that we can look forward to in better days to come. Anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Bye bye everyone. Take care.